Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 5 of The Outrage. Can't believe we're already at number 5, but at the same time, I can and can't. But the reason why I can't is because it just seemed like it was never going to happen. I mean, we've had cancellation after cancellation. Well, I guess not cancellation, more like postponement. Spencer Byers is co-hosting today. I'm your host, Big Al, AQ, whatever you want to call me. My first name, too. It's very French, so I won't bore you with that one. But anyways, episode 5, Spencer. Loaded stuff. We're talking about the Leafs because...
They suck. They suck.
They are. I'm on that train now. They do suck. And fans they're not hitting the panic button, but it's more of like they're demanding for change.
It's apathy, Al. It's apathy. It's pure apathy.
They're demanding for change, and it looks like it might be coming. It might not. We don't know, but it looks like something's coming because although they had a similar record last season. Mm-hmm. Last season, it's just not the same vibe. They weren't losing because of mistakes or poor play. It was just, bad puck luck kind of thing like that, and they just couldn't get into a rhythm. But now it seems like, forget the rhythm part, like it just doesn't seem like it's going to come together.
You want to know what the other major difference is, Al? Is last year when you went 5-4-1. Last year when the Leafs went 5-4-1, they won the last 3 games of the month to start off their 10 games.
Yeah, they won
the last 3. This year they've lost the last 3. That's the difference. Is now you're coming
last 4. They lost all their games in California. The California road trip last year, actually the first one, I'm pretty sure they swept it.
Well, yeah.
Whereas this year they're the ones that got swept and in terrible fashion.
We'll get into that in a second.
Right,
but that's what I mean. Like, it's the way you coming out of it. It's not like, they started off really hot and then, they're being cooling off. It's they've been cold and they're staying cold.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
The there's no heating up. Last year they won 3 in a row to end the month. There was a little bit of confidence there because they were getting better.
Yeah.
Right? Right now, last four losses in a row.
It's awful.
I think it's what 2-2. I think 2 overtime losses in there, but at least one
bad,
with Anaheim.
They're losses regardless, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, I guess, man, I wish I would have said this when we started the podcast. This is a Halloween edition.
Yes, I was waiting for you to say it.
Because usually we record these on a weekend, like on a Saturday. No, this time it's October 31st. It's Halloween, one of the days I hate the most of the year, believe it or not.
Why?
It's just, I'm not a fan of it. Like, I mean, I have my reasons, but I don't want to, like, get all sappy on everyone. But let's just say the word bullying was involved when I was in... not preschool, but that'd be a little cheeky. Not middle school. Before that, there.
Elementary school.
Elementary school. There you go.
Oh my Lord, Al.
Grade 4. No. That's actually like I'll never forget that. I went as Batman, and you couldn't wear masks in school because of like safety concerns and whatnot. Because a 4th grade student's gonna bring like a knife and a gun and like all masked up and like be like I'm robbing you. Like I don't know, but No, and I remember I couldn't wear a mask, and there was for some reason I couldn't wear the cape with the suit or like whatever. So basically, I showed up to school in like a black leotard, looking like a knockoff version of Black Panther that wasn't really a thing at the time, and everybody laughed at me for it and all that. And then I was like, "That's it, I'm done." Every year, there's always something going on. I'm always getting laughed at. There's always getting ridiculed, whatever. Done with it.
Yeah.
So that ruined Halloween for me, and then. Then I started, it's funny because I was like, oh, they're going to say whatever they want to say about whatever costume I have, whether it's actually something like Batman or Superman or whatever you want. Mm. And they're going to say something regardless. So I just put some random stuff together every year from that point forward. And everyone's like, oh, like, what are you? And I'm like, whatever you want me to be. Just some random person, thing, whatever you want. Like, it was funny. I'd have like a clown wig on my head, and then I'd have like some weird shorts with two different pairs of shoes on, like just the most messed up thing. It was like, call me whatever you want, because it doesn't matter what I wear. At the end of the day, you're just gonna come up with something anyways. But yeah, so that ruined Halloween for me, and just haven't been a fan ever since. Love the candy. Of course, I'd go out on my own.
Well, we get it, Al. You're 200 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal. So obviously, you'd be looking for that candy.
Yeah, but no, obviously, like I still went out and trick or treating and all that kind of thing. But stopped dressing up after grade 4, and yeah, just
sounds about right.
Thanks for ruining it for me. But at the same time, second reason why I don't like it, I love scaring people. But I don't like being scared. I'll scare the crap out of you, but if you scare the crap out of I don't like it. I'm not a fan, which is kind of hypocritical, but hey, it is what it is.
It's Al. Come on.
Not a Halloween fan at the end of the day.
He's a Leaf guy. Come on, you gotta think it's hypocritical.
But yeah, back to the Leafs.
Back to Leafs.
Back to the Leafs. Wow.
Do you want to set the scene a little better out before you
Sure,
rip
let's
into
do
a
it.
new one?
Yeah.
Because you're gonna go about 5 minutes, I expect. Because last
Oh,
week
I
you went about 15 with me just adding in quick blurbs to make sure you knew I was still here. But
Yeah, no, now it's more, if we're going to talk about the Leafs, the narrative I hate hearing right now is the whole fire Keefe situation. Sheldon Keefe is not the problem right now. Not even close. Like, you can't, it's up to the players at this point because it's the same squad as last year. Same coaches, but obviously, like, Sheldon Keefe, like, sure, he might repeat a few things here and there, but it's not like he's like a skipping record or a broken record here. You know what I mean?
Yet.
No, I don't think so. I think it's on the players, and I think if they want to get back on track, and it's very doable, still very early.
Well, yeah, 10 games in.
Still early. I think they need to make an example of someone. I don't know who, but I will. Sure.
It's
Actually, Marner and Keefe have had issues on the bench a lot. Marner
That's
got
what I
benched
mean.
for one shift last game against
shift.
Anaheim, which, wow, that does so much. And then he had a little flip out, a little tantrum in the tunnel.
He's a London Knight. You should know. They always have temper tantrums. That's, they're just full of babies over there.
Whatever.
I know.
I
The
don't.
program full of babies.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go down that road. I kind of wanna stick with the Leafs here because right now here's what I'm noticing. Justin Hall
Is
has
garbage.
got to go.
Yeah.
I don't know why we're keeping him around. Or sorry, not where. It's not my team. I don't know why Kyle Dubas is keeping him around. I get it. You brought him up in the Marlies and he's your guy and you won the Calder Cup with him. Whatever. Then you got, I just got a brain fart here. Oh, Pierre Engvall, another guy that is for some reason in the lineup. He's atrocious. He's a pylon out there. He's not the same guy. Yeah, I don't think he belongs there. And then you have Jake Muzzin,
Hurt currently, I believe.
who is a Band-Aid.
Yeah, now.
After his second serious injury, before the concussion stuff came up, and before this neck injury that he's currently on the LTIR for.
Which is long-term injury reserve, if you don't know.
Yes. He should have been dealt. That clears up cap space. Having on the LTIR, sure, gives you that cap space for now.
Yeah.
But he's going to come back. Matt Murray is going to come back at some
Eventually.
point. I don't think he should because, shop someone else.
Outside.
But then again, it's like, who's going to take them?
Yeah, that's
But-
kind of the problem now.
But that's the problem right now for the Leafs for me, is there's guys that are in the lineup
Mm-hmm.
that shouldn't be.
Yeah,
And it's like,
I feel that.
why are you afraid to hurt their feelings? And
Maybe.
if that's the case, you're not they got to realize they're not your friends. They are the reason why you have a job right now.
Yeah.
And they'll also be the reason why you lose one if you don't, at the end of the day, their job as a general manager and a head coach is to put a team out on the ice that
That's
can
gonna
win
win.
you hockey games and that can contend and eventually win a cup. The Leafs are not winning a cup this year, that's for sure.
But not at this rate.
At this
Not
rate,
the way
no.
they look.
And maybe they can turn it around. Look at St. Louis and when they went on the run.
That was
Terrible.
till January.
Terrible, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, boop.
But
And they didn't make drastic changes either.
No, but you're the one thing that team had the Leafs don't is when St. Louis made that big turnaround in January.
Here comes the Owen sound.
No,
I see it in
no,
your
no.
face. Bullshit.
No, honestly,
All right,
Al,
all right, all right.
My mother will never forget it because my mother's been a Jordan Binnington fan since he was in Owen Sound the first time when he was like 17. When they won the OHL Cup in 2011.
Yeah,
Make
yeah,
sure you know. Anyway,
yeah, whatever.
So when he made it back to the NHL for like the third time, and most likely the final time if it didn't work out
After
in January.
that, do I look nervous quote?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
But when he said I wouldn't go down because they were going to try to send him down from their AHL team to ECHL, and he said no, I'm not going. So they brought him back up, and then they went on that
Then it just worked out.
disgusting
Yeah.
run from
Huge winning
January
streak.
on, and
Yeah.
he was a big factor.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, who is that for the Leafs? Is it Matt Murray? I don't think so. Is
I've-
it Eric
I've-
Shelgren?
The
I
problem
don't
is
think so.
the problem is it is Matt Murray.
Well, it has to be.
But here's the reason why it's problematic. He's not healthy. He's never healthy,
yeah,
and he's never going to be full health. Look, he said, I feel greatest I've felt in a long time, blah, blah, blah. Do you know Matt Murray has yet to play a full NHL season?
Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah. No, Band-Aid.
Don't get me wrong, like,
Injury prone.
number one still get nights off here and there. So, like, a regular number one goaltender gets what, about 55 to 60 games?
Depending on how good your backup is, yeah. Upwards of
Right.
60.
Yeah, so that's normal. The most he's played, I don't even think he's flirted with 55.
Yeah, because
He came close. He had like 49 the one time, and that was his second cup run, I believe, with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's
But-
that's when he was a starter.
But he's never going to be.
Well, and
Look how
Al,
quickly he got injured. It
but-
took didn't take that long.
and not even his injury, Al. He looked bad.
no,
he's-
I disagree with
Okay,
that.
no, but-
That's
no,
the
but he
thing.
had
I
one
was like,
glove
Murray
side.
looked good. Okay, yeah, his glove, fine.
But the problem is, Al, if you have that blatant problem, blocker or glove or 5-hole, teams are going to exploit it.
That's fair. Yeah, no, I
Like-
get that, but he still looked really good. The one thing I will say is I also predicted that Ilya Samsonov was going to be the number one goaltender.
I agreed. Yeah, no, we agreed on that.
We agreed on that, and he's shown that he's capable of it.
1000%.
My only issue right now is why the heck is he not playing more often? Don't get me wrong. I know at one point earlier in the California road trip, especially when it came to the Sharks, they said, "Oh, Shalgren's going to go in net because Samsonov's feeling under the weather." Fine, I get that, but at the same time, I'm going, man, like as soon as he's good to go, you're working him and you're working him and
Yeah.
you're working him because the game plan is win games, so that you can eventually deal and find someone to either back him up or find someone that could make him the backup and have a potential number one.
Yeah,
But the other issue is that
kind of
there's
like Flower
nobody
with
out there.
Minnesota. Yeah, that's another big
That's
problem.
that's the other issue. But right now, the frustrating thing with the Leafs is that they're like, oh, let's fire Keefe. Okay, I'm sorry. Anyone but whoever's behind the bench or in head office needs to go. Right now, in my opinion, Kyle Dubas needs a kick up the ass from upper management, either Brendan Shanahan
or the ownership of
or the
MLSE.
ownership, because something's got to get done fast. And I don't care how many hearts you have to break, how many friendships or how many bridges you've got to burn to get it done.
Yeah.
It's the NHL. It's
Business.
exactly. And do you know how many times I've been told, "Oh, it's a business," but I'm like, it doesn't matter. No. Now, time to make it business. At first, it was like, yeah, sure, they're friends, they're buddies, whatever, it's cool. Now it's like, okay, man, 7 years of first round exits.
First round exit.
And now it's gotten to the point where I'm watching the Leafs play whenever I can, when I'm not busy. And I'm going, man, this team might not even make the playoffs
Yeah, they do not look good.
because Montreal looks decent. Cole Caulfield is insane right now.
I said when he got drafted and he fell out of Wisconsin, that guy's a 50
Oh,
to 60 goal
absolutely.
guy. 1000%. I don't care. He's 5'8".
Height doesn't matter. Height
He's
doesn't
gonna
matter that much in
rock
the
it.
NHL anymore.
He is quick.
Yeah.
He's got great foot speed. Like that young man, if you give him the opportunity, which now playing with Nick Suzuki he is.
Oh man, him
Like,
and
come
Suzuki,
on, man.
they're tight.
And
It's unreal.
again, I don't want to say. I know you're gonna laugh at me when I say
Probably
you know,
not.
OHL, attack bias, but we knew coming out of that draft when he got drafted by
Oh,
Vegas,
yeah.
he was gonna be gross. Like I can tell you, anyone who from Owen Sound who watched him play, or even from other fan bases who saw him travel with the team, you knew when you
Yeah.
were watching him on the ice. Like that guy. Whew,
It took me a while to come around because even when he was in Guelph, like Guelph had a lot of superstars.
that was a wagon team.
That was crazy.
Like-
They had 11 NHL draft picks on that team.
And-
The Knights
and-
only had 9.
and they got 3 from the attack
Yeah.
because they got I guess Roberts, but they got Suzuki and Durzan. I think there was one more.
Yeah, there was
it,
a
was it
third.
Gadjevich? Did they get Gadge in that trade?
Yeah.
Because I think they got 4
I
from the
think
attack.
so.
But anyway,
But
they
yeah.
got for sure Dursey and Suzuki.
Yeah,
were
so
both
it
on
was
that
hard
team.
it was hard to tell because they were so stacked and I didn't believe too much in the hype. But then when he got to Vegas, before the Guelph trade happened, he was in Vegas and I was like, man, this guy's good. Then he got traded. I was like, oh, this is pretty decent. And then I saw him play junior because I was with the London Knights at the time and I was like, not playing, I was with their like media team.
You're broadcasting.
Yeah, something like that. And I saw him play. I was like, man, what do they see in this guy? Like, I don't see it as much as I did before. And then he starts lighting it up, and then he gets to the show, and I'm like, okay, like this, okay, yeah, he belongs, like whatever. But back to the point, Montreal's looking good. The Senators are waking up. Heck, they're not even playing with Cam Talbot right now, and they're looking dangerous.
Yeah, or Josh Norris, who should be one of their
And
best
the
center team, like, they're
sleepers
bad.
right now, the Buffalo Sabres.
And they're third right now in the Atlantic.
So there's teams that we had as sleepers coming into the year, and it's like they're playing, and like I don't know if me and you didn't talk about it since the last time we talked about it, but the Sabres look like a legitimate threat this year, not like in a cup contending
Well-
threat, but they'll move someone out of a playoff spot. Like Detroit, but Buffalo looks really good. I know they looked good early last year, and then they completely fell off.
Yeah.
But right now, it looks like it's working.
But-
and Alex Tuck is phenomenal.
Now, Al, do you know what the one thing I do want to mention is? I think you and I both talked about this when we,
Yeah.
made our division predictions and who was going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
You and I both talked about this Atlantic Division 1 through 8. Even if you didn't want to include Montreal at the time, who now looks really, really good.
Yeah, they look okay.
Right?
I'm not sold just because they don't
really,
have
really
goaltending
good.
yet.
They look really, really good to what
Yeah.
everyone expected them to be.
Yeah, true.
Even without, especially Slafkovsky not looking great. Their first
Yeah,
overall pick.
Slavkovsky's looking good, yeah.
But now panning out. Took him again a little bit of time to get.
He got his
used to
first
that.
goal now, so he's getting
Yeah,
in his groove.
getting used to that NHL ice compared to European ice, which is
Caden
bigger.
Gooley did too.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that was a rocket
Yeah,
too.
oh man,
But
blast.
anyway, from 8, which right now is Ottawa, with 8 games played with 8 points, to second in the Atlantic is 11 points with Florida. That's 3 points from second in the division to last in the division.
And your Bruins are doing better than I thought
And
they were
they're
going to do too.
8-1 currently with 16 points. So
Yeah.
I'm quickly going to say, when I said they're going to get 5th and might not make the playoffs, I lied. They're going to be first in the division.
It's crazy how but that's what I love about hockey, right? Like you make predictions and the sport just says, yeah, you can take those predictions and just like
Well, see, Al, and I'm going to take 2 points here. So when you talk about the Leafs, and they talk about how Dubas is, I'll say, more of a friend than he is a
Dubas is
management.
getting fired by the way at the end of the year or before that now. The way they're going.
If they don't
If he
make
doesn't
big
move a player,
or
yeah.
or they don't, if they don't get better by, I'd say, January, or they make the playoffs again but lose in the first round anyway, they're probably gonna clean house.
They got to stop losing to teams that they shouldn't lose to.
Well, yeah, they lost
That's
to
the
what?
issue.
San Jose, not playoff team. Anaheim, not playoff team in overtime. Vegas, really good team, but you still lost there, and it was a winnable game. And then who was the other one? L.A. I think that was also an overtime, and that was also a close one.
Arizona and
Arizona.
Montreal.
Yeah, yeah.
Like those teams,
Yeah.
like
And LA's been bad this year. Neither one of their goalies has a save percentage above 880.
and that's the thing too. Like they don't even look good when they lose. It's like,
Or
man,
win.
you deserved to lose that
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
You know, so to kind of end it on this note here for the Leafs portion of this, because I think I've said all I wanted to say about it, and I'm not sure if you want any to add
I'm just
anything.
going to add a little bit at the end.
Okay, but I think Keefe isn't the problem
No,
because listen,
definitely not.
you got rid of Babcock. Babcock was an issue. Everybody knew that.
Yeah.
The fan base, everyone saw it. He was playing guys that shouldn't be playing, and he was sitting guys where it was like, what are you doing? Like
Yeah.
Justin Hull played 11 games under Mike Babcock.
Which
in that
now
one
is
season,
now,
which
is
now
lucky.
makes sense.
Yeah, but
But at the
before.
same time, like when he did start to play after like Keefe took over, it was like, oh my god, like this guy's pretty good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
now
that was
now
short-lived.
That's changed to garbage, but
In
anyway.
so, in my opinion, when it comes to lineup changes, I think you take Engvall out, you keep Malgin in. Robertson should never come out of the lineup.
We wouldn't think so.
And on defense, man, Timothy Liljegren, please finish your conditioning stint with the Marlies and come back. Because it's
Imagine.
just, they need to sit Hull. They
Yeah.
need to start, either sit your guys, like scratch them, and put the guys that deserve to be there in the first place, or that the guys that you know will put in the work, and like if they're gonna
Yeah.
make a mistake, it's just gonna be because that's hockey, shit happens, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And when it comes to Marner, man, he's really starting to look like one of those guys where it's like, I got my paycheck, I'm
Yeah.
good now.
Exactly, yeah.
And I'm at the point where I'm like, if you have to sit him a game,
Do it.
do it. If you have to sit him a period, do it. But figure it out because it's not looking healthy right now, and eventually the domino effect's going to happen.
Yeah, see, I'll end it with this.
All right.
I love the movie Moneyball. I
Right.
think you've seen
It's a-
Moneyball.
it's a- that's a great movie.
If you haven't seen it, it's a movie about the early 2000s Oakland A's.
Yep.
Who were a baseball team that had a salary had a overall salary because baseball does not have a salary cap of about $40 million. They lost the Yankees in the NLDS or ALDS or ALCS, one of the two. I believe it might have even been the CS. Anyway,
I've only seen it once, so I can't really help
I've
you out.
seen it
All I
half-
know is that it is a great movie.
I've seen it about 8 or 9 times. I love the movie. But
Watched
anyway,
it for the first time last year, actually.
well, it is a great movie. But they lose to the Yankees, who has a payroll of about $140 million. So they're about 3 times less than the Yankees. And Billy Bean, the manager, GM, has to figure out how to build a winning baseball team with a third of the budget of the big clubs like Boston and I'll even say Toronto, but they probably were double. But he had to try to make, a really good baseball team with a very, very small budget. And when he goes through the movie, he says a very specific quote that I said about Kyle Dubas when he first was hired after about a year. I said, the problem with Kyle Dubas is he did the exact opposite of what Billy Beane said you have to do. I cannot be friends with these guys. I have to cut them, trade them, and send them down without any emotion. I can't be friends with these guys when he sends Peter Brand, who, that's not his real name, but in the movie that's what his name is, his assistant GM, on a road trip. He says, why are you sending me? Why don't you go? He said, because I can't be friends with these guys. I can't build a relationship with them because if I have to cut them, trade them, or send them down, I can't, there can't be any barrage on me. I have to make that decision for what's good for my ball club, right? And that's what Kyle Dubas has lacked. Everybody, it feels like, are his guys. And not just his guys, they're guys he really, really likes. Like Ilya Mikheyev had his, I think it was wrist slashed by a skate.
Yeah, it was like
and
his forearm,
it was a nasty cut.
Yeah.
Like, Kyle Dubas went to the hospital bed and, like, was by his side.
Which is fine.
And, no, I respect that. Like, that's an honorable thing to do.
Yeah, that's caring.
That's not what an NHL GM should do.
No.
Do you think Lou Lamoriello does that? No.
That's the thing.
Are you out of your mind?
He looks here's my thing too. So this is where I also think maybe Shanahan should have been gone by now.
Yeah.
In the sense that listen, Shanaplan. What was the plan? Bring in guys that can build a winning team and make it back to the playoffs and be in the playoffs consistently.
Yeah.
That's been done now.
You'd think
for
so, yeah.
7 freaking years.
Yeah.
Or a little. No, this is Matthews' 7th year in the NHL. Yeah, 7 freaking years.
And all the way back to Washington.
What did Lamoriello do after they drafted Matthews the year after that?
Marlowe?
No, he wasn't there.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He was gone. I'm pretty sure he was there for one more season, maybe, at best. And then the year after Matthews was drafted and played, and then gone because his contract was done, and he's like, I'm done.
Well, no, because
and also Shanahan wanted to bring in Dubas because he had earned whatever. Fine. Here's my thing, and I know I said I'd put a bow on this, but I'm bringing back thoughts that I had. If they're going to blow it up in the sense of management, here's what you do, in my opinion. Either get rid of Shanahan, Dubas, and Keefe all combined.
You're going to have to.
Or get rid of Dubas and Keefe.
And keep Shanahan.
And keep him. Even though I don't want... Shanahan's the one guy I want gone because he's the last man standing.
Yeah, he's been there the longest.
And if you do get rid of those guys and Shanahan stays, this is what I think should happen. Barry Trotz came out and said, I want to coach an original 6 team. I think it'd be interesting. That's his quote. You go after him. And when it comes to management, you're probably going, who the heck am I going to find in that short amount of time that has no ties, that has nothing? Well, this guy here would have a slight tie, but not a huge one. You go for the guy that was second behind Kyle Dubas.
I was waiting for this, Sal.
And I'm not saying this because I have a bias towards the London Knights.
I
just think it's because he has a I don't give a shit attitude, and he means business, and that guy wants to win, and that's all he did with the Knights. Mark Hunter.
There it is. I was waiting for it. I thought so. I thought you were going to say Mark Hunter.
That's your only option if you fire Dubas and Keefe. I can't think of another GM you bring in, or you go fishing somewhere else and whatever, and you go through the whole interview process and hope to God you find someone really good that hasn't been in the game before, that never been at NHL level. But that would be the guy. Mark Hunter, I can totally see him coming in and go, you're gone, you suck, you suck, you suck, see you later.
See,
and honestly, I'd be okay with keeping Keefe because, like I said, I don't think he's the issue. It's clearly the players at this point. You can't teach heart, you can't teach passion, and you can't teach the will to win.
Yeah, see, Al, I agree with you, other than I don't think Hunter's the right guy. Because I think he has too many connections to this team. Because, like, as you said, him and Dubas were both like the 1A, 1B under Lou Lamoriello.
But the only guy he has a tie with, wouldn't it be, Mitch Marner and Victor Mete?
Well, those are London Knight guys, but I mean just in general. Because he would have had a role somewhat in construction of this team.
I've been around Mark Hunter for 2 years when I was in London. This guy here was all business.
Yeah.
Like, every time he'd come in, he'd always do the shaking hands and, go to the media room, hey, how's it going, and all that kind of stuff. But after that, when he left that room, stone cold face. He's not even playing, but you could have sworn he was.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I could totally see Hunter coming in for a week and scouting the team out, and this is where the team would probably lose a few games. And then by the end of maybe 5 games, he'd go and he'd say, okay, I know who's got to go. Guarantee you he probably ships Muzzin.
Oh, yeah.
He ships Murray somehow.
I don't think so.
Brandon Pridham's pretty smart, cap guy. He'd probably figure it out. And I guarantee you Engvall and Hall are gone as well.
Yeah, either way.
And even Wayne Simmons. Because let's be honest, Wayne Simmons is on a ticking clock too. They're just looking for a suitor, but at the same time, no one's going to... As soon as he gets traded, he's retiring. Nobody's going to take him. Yeah. So you got to buy out his contract, basically.
Or just waive him and throw him down in the Marlies.
Sure, but even then, like, he's going to retire because he's in the minors. He doesn't want to be in the minors. He wants to be in the show.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, we talked a lot about the Leafs. I don't even know how long we've gone for.
Probably upwards of 20, 30 minutes.
Decent amount of time. But anyways, I think the Leafs fan base has the right to not panic.
Yeah.
But make the calls they've been calling for. Whoever's saying fire Keefe, take a look at the players and the way things are going. And take a look as to why you wanted Keefe to come in the first place. Because you knew he'd make those lineup changes. He's trying. He's made like 3 to 4 lineup changes on the fly. Not a panic move. He's just hoping something just miraculously gels. And if you've done that 3 or 4 times, I haven't coached for that long, but if something doesn't work, it's probably because there's a bad apple somewhere. You got to figure out what it is. And the thing that makes me mad the most, Spencer, I think they already know who it is. I think Dubas and Keefe, they're not stupid. They talk. I think they already know. But they just don't have the ball sack to make a move.
Well, who do you think it is? Who do you think it is?
I don't know.
Because, see, I have an idea.
Go ahead. Maybe I'll agree with you. Maybe you'll sway me that way and get me to agree a little bit. But it's on the forward line for sure.
I think the answer's obvious, in my opinion.
You're going to say Mitch Marner?
Of course I am.
Yeah, me too.
And there's a very obvious reason. Not only
just look at how it's been going.
Not only has he been butting heads with Keefe repeatedly to start this season, not only was he allegedly going to play defense this year, or at least at some capacity.
I don't think
we're never going to mention that, but that was a mention in the preseason he could move back to defense, which not a hope in hell. But anyway, they've already openly been butting heads, and Steve Dangle is definitely the highest of Octane Leaf fans. Of up or down.
And he speaks for a lot of fans. He's like our therapist. I'm not going to lie. Like, I listen to him, and there's a lot of times that when I'm watching him, I'm going, I agree with you. And B, I'm like, thank you for saying it out loud because some other people need to open their eyes a little more.
Well, yeah, no, because some people think he's a little too up and down. And I can agree with some of that, but I also can agree with some of the things he says because he watches every game. Like, openly, he watches every game.
Yeah, he basically does like play-by-play on YouTube.
At least the past, I think it's, 11, 12 years now, FLFRs, which is Leaf Fan Reactions.
16.
16, maybe? Whatever. So even just thinking about that, how many years he's done it for, how many seasons he's documented on a YouTube channel of him watching 82 games, not including the playoffs.
Yep.
When they went out in the first round every year. Anyway, I had to throw a quick diss in there, just to be me. Anyway, so he said, when Marner walked down the tunnel to snap his stick, Keefe should have said at that very moment, okay, he's done. You do not walk down the tunnel and have a temper tantrum like a child and expect to play again. And I agree with that sentiment.
Well, the reason why, too, he had the tantrum, I don't know if you've seen the clip or not, but Keefe talked to him during the timeout, and then after the timeout, that's when he got up.
Yeah.
And then down the tunnel he goes and
snaps his stick. And I don't disagree with that. I disagree because he's one of your best players, and you have to hope something's going to come off if you play him and Matthews together. But I also agree, if you're going to bench him, it's a
just rip off the Band-Aid and do it.
Damned if you don't decision, but you have to stick with it. You might be wrong, but as long as you make the decision and decide, like, flat out, black and white, if he's playing or not, people will respect your decision. But flip-flopping and doing a lot of gray and, I'll say, turning on your own decision basically right after you make it, loses credibility with the fans, loses credibility with analysts, and loses credibility with the players. Because if they see Marner get benched for one shift after having an awful game and then going out there for overtime, you're like, what? There's no discipline. Why do I care? Like, why would I care about making a really dumb mistake?
Yep.
Because what are you going to do? Bench me for a shift? Go ahead. Go ahead. I make $11 million. What are you going to do to me?
Yeah.
And that's my biggest problem with just, I'd say, coaching in general, but in particular is Keefe. How does Keefe tell Matthews or Marner or Tavares or even Nylander? How does he tell you, I need you to do this? When they go, yeah, but Keefe, you don't understand. We got the last guy fired. You don't think we're going to get you fired too?
Imagine Torts.
Oh, God.
In Toronto.
Could you imagine?
Marner would have done more than snap a stick that other night.
Marner would have cried himself to sleep that night.
Marner would have quit hockey. All right, like that. Like
Like
that's
you and I
the thing.
talked
Like
about
I'm trying.
passion earlier in the podcast.
I'm trying to figure out who's softer.
Oh God.
Like, is Marner? Are the players soft, or is I
I'd say
get
it's
I
a
get
mixture of
Keefe.
both.
I get Keefe. It's damage control and like
Yeah.
by benching. Like there's the morale, the confidence. I get that, but at the same time, like you're a coach.
Yeah.
You get the last say. And to connect it a little bit. There's a few times when even I coach like Markham Waxers, like our hockey team. There's times during the game when like I call out a line, not always, but the odd time. And the guys are like, oh, no, like, this is, like, oh, we're both righties, or blah, 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 or, like, oh, this is usually, I don't give a shit. Sometimes I'll give them, like, oh, you're right, fine, we won't send out two righties together right away, but, like, then there's times it's like, man, I need those two, because, like, those two righties are some of our, like, they're our stronger defensemen in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Or just my gut feeling, like, the way the game's going and the way you're watching it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's times when they'll say, no, and I'll be like, hey, you don't have to go out then. I don't care. I'll go next guy up.
Yeah.
And,
Exactly.
you know, and it's tough because they're closer to my age sometimes. And, like, you know, you kind of think, like, oh, am I going to lose their respect a little bit? Is this going to anger them? How is it going to? But they, at the end of the day, though, they understand. And they're not even pros. They're just kids. They're younger than Matthews, Marner, and those guys.
Of course. Well,
and it's kind of sad because I'm like, man, the kids I coach understand this more than the big guys, it seems like.
I don't think it's understand. I think it's because they know. Again, Alex, how does a coach tell Matthews and Marner and Tavares, who all make $11 million plus a year?
And Tavares isn't the problem.
Well, no, but he's not. He's probably been one of the best forwards, if not the best forward with Nylander.
He's been good, yeah.
On the Leafs currently. But how does Keefe tell any one of the $11 million boys to do something? How in the world do you tell Matthews, I need you to do this?
Okay, but Matthews has been getting the shots. They just haven't been going in. It's only I'm not worried about Matthews at all.
Well, no, and scoring 60 goals definitely helps. But, like,
absolutely.
At the end of the day, how does Keefe tell them to do things when they can just go, but Keefe, you don't understand. We got the last guy fired. Do you think we're scared of getting you fired?
And that's when
if it's between you or me, I know who they're picking, and it sure as hell ain't you.
And that's when the GM steps in and goes, oh, yeah? And then you either sit them, like scratch them completely from the game.
Yeah, totally scratch.
But then again, the friendship and...
Exactly.
Anyways.
And that's where, Al, if there's going to be a move made by the Toronto Maple Leafs within the next month, it has to be one of the core four, and I know who I'd pick.
Well, I think so too. It's funny, because at this point last year, I'd say someone else.
Wait, who you would have said, Nylander?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But now,
It's Marner.
That, also because he has the bigger cap space.
Yeah, exactly. $11 million to $7 million.
Yeah, and...
He's a passer,
too. They absolutely take him.
Yeah, see, and people will say, well, no matter what trade you make, you lose a Marner trade. And I don't disagree with that sentiment, because you probably do.
Depends who your suitor is, right?
You probably do lose a Marner trade because he is that caliber of player.
If you get him out of the conference, you win.
Well, yes.
And all I'm going to say is they need draft picks.
You think so?
They'll need a player to match close to his skill level, probably more with a scoring capability rather than passing.
Play.
More physical scoring and physicality, and then you need picks because the Marlies core is the Marlies are garbage.
Well,
like their prospect pool is starting to diminish because they made all those deals to bring in the big boys, and now you got Band-Aid Muzzin. Clifford. Well, where'd he go? Campbell's gone for nothing.
Yeah, walked.
So all those trades you made now, David Riddick.
No, but honestly,
Nick Foligno.
No, you know what's worse? You know what's even worse is your best prospect, Matthew Nyes, is in college, so that's why he's not with the Marlies.
They got to bring him in now.
And the next one, Al, Rodion Amirov got cancer.
Yeah, he's unfortunate situation.
Yeah, and now we don't even know what's going to happen with Amirov.
He might not.
That's your last 2 first-round picks.
Yep.
Your last 2 first-round picks are back in college and cancer victim and may never play hockey again. So... It's not even necessarily their fault. It's bad luck after, I'll say, Nyes saying, I want to go back to college for 1 more year, and then the sad news of Amirov getting cancer, like, bad luck after bad luck, and now...
That's what I mean. Like, they got to act fast, because they either fix this, because they got a leak. There's a leak in the boat.
Oh, it's been leaking.
It's a sinking ship, okay? It's definitely taking on water, and it's definitely taking a lot of water now. They either patch it up by making deals, someone's got to lose their job.
Yeah.
Or if none of those two things happen,
yeah,
start build somewhere.
Yeah.
Start patching the hole somewhere because there's no one in the farm on the Marlies group that can help him right now.
No.
There's nothing. There's barely draft picks left for the next few years.
Yeah.
So they got to do something.
Okay, I think we're gonna quickly put a bow on this,
Good.
Al. With
We were supposed to put a bow on it, like
no, but I think where we're gonna end it is we're gonna end with who you would think is a good trading option for the Leafs.
oh jeez,
For Marner.
come on.
Just an idea of a team that you would be okay with and a player you could think of. Because I have one on the top of my mind, and I could probably think of a second team with a player in mind.
Okay, I don't necessarily have the players in mind, but I don't know why Buffalo, Detroit, and the LA Kings.
Well, those are two Atlantic teams.
I know Buffalo, Detroit, and the LA Kings came to
What,
mind.
Tuck? You think for Buffalo?
I was thinking more line shuffles and like I'd like Tage Thompson
Tage, okay.
or like a Casey Middlestat.
Oh, so you want a center, not a winger.
Yeah. I don't know
enough.
why, but like I don't know. I like those are just the guys that come to mind. Now, when it comes to cap space, I'm not even gonna bother looking at it. We're trying to go through this quickly. Detroit, I have no clue. If you're
Probably
gonna send
Larkin, maybe?
no, he's a captain. If you're gonna send Marner to Detroit, I'd like a defenseman.
So you want Cider, basically.
No, I don't want big. I'll even take prospects at this point. Like
so Edvidson?
I have
the
no
guy who
idea.
just came
I have
all
no
up?
idea.
Okay.
I'm just thinking this is me just,
Okay.
heck, I might even want Ville Husso
Fair enough. He's been
Right?
good this year.
with a few other, like, a couple prospects or player or draft
Picks.
picks, whatever.
And then LA?
LA, I have no clue. LA came
Honestly,
to mind.
Velarde's look great. Finally, after all the back
Or,
injuries at
heck, now that I
Kingston.
think about it, San Jose.
I'm not sure you want to go. I'm assuming he has a no trade
I
clause,
don't
but
give
implying
a
he doesn't.
shit.
Implying he doesn't.
Like, that's the thing.
Who
You
would you
c-
want from San Jose?
I don't know.
Like Meyer, maybe? Meyer or Hurdle?
I like Meyer. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Meyer too. See, I was thinking Nashville, Philip Forsberg,
Yeah, that'd be good.
because then you winger for winger, and you get
I'm just
more in
thinking
that
of the
deal.
money, though. Like,
No,
that's
but
the thing.
they're close. I think Forsberg's like 7 or 8. So you save about 3, and then you get picks and prospects
Yeah.
after that. So you get a kind of like for like player, and Nashville gets better.
Yeah. It's funny. I said, too, like, I didn't want anyone to trade within the conference. And then
And
I
then
was
you
like,
named 2 conference teams.
3.
Who do-
I said Buffalo,
Detroit.
Detroit, and
But LA's on the other side.
no, I know LA's in the West. Didn't I have a?
No, you only said 3.
Oh.
And those you said
Oh,
those
there
2.
you go. Look at that. I'm losing
And
my
then
shit.
if I was also to say another team from the Western Conference, not including the Metro teams, because I'm not sure who in the Metro would want them that could afford them that would be any good.
Pittsburgh.
Like no, because they couldn't afford them. They're already strapped against the cap. But
Yeah.
then you'd think, what, Minnesota? Trying to
Why
get
do I
down-
gotta like Winnipeg? Kyle Connor.
No, but there's no way Winnipeg would want that deal because Kyle Connor, I'd say like for like players, but I'm not sure Winnipeg's ready to deal yet. I think they are also in that Leaf territory of looking for
Yeah, like
like
Shifley's getting moved.
like Shifley, Connor, Ehlers, like that core is kind of at its last kick at the can too. And I'll end it with this, Alan. I won't get your opinion on it, but if you want to
That's
jump
fine.
in just to
Yeah.
end it quickly, me saying I think Nashville's a great option with Philip Forsberg for a trade for Marner.
Yeah, that'd be
My last thing is Matthews' deal is up next year, not this summer, then summer after that, from what I've been told.
They're gonna extend him during the summer though. Like he's gonna get a contract
no.
extension. Doesn't matter which
no,
GM
but
comes
this
in.
is what I'm saying. If you talk to Matthews now, and
Oh, he's
say,
gone.
No, you talk to him now and you say, okay, Austin, are you going to extend here? And if the answer is nothing but or anything but yes,
Deal him.
deal him, because you cannot let
And
him
then
walk.
and then you're officially rebuilding from top to bottom.
I wouldn't say rebuild. I just say retool.
Well, he's your guy.
Well, no, 1,000%.
Matthews has shattered records.
No, but Al, you can't. The problem is you can't say rebuild because the amount of value you'd get for that man is ridiculous. So you easily could retool with that particular trade. But even in spite of that, my opinion is, if by this summer you don't have an idea, like if
You know what? If you're shopping a team, sorry, I just thought of this now. If you're gonna send him somewhere, freaking Anaheim. They're loaded. Anaheim's got a lot of
What,
young
Troy
players.
Terry? Maybe?
Troy Terry.
Oh, they
I'm
wouldn't
not
deal
saying. I'm
Zegras.
not saying they wouldn't deal Zegras. Troy Terry, Comtois, McTavish,
Drysdale.
like Drysdale. Like they got guys like
Gibby, too.
They.
Gibson.
Yeah,
He's had a mediocre start, but he's a good goalie.
Yeah, he's a good
He's
goalie. But that's a team where like they're but they got a lot of good players and they have a lot of picks.
Yeah.
Same thing with Colorado. You could send him there. The only problem is all it takes is one guy, and then they're cup contenders again, right?
And where's the cap space going to come from there? Because they're strapped
yeah,
too.
that's also
But
right.
no,
So,
like that's my thing is if Matthews is not signed to a new deal by the summer, you have to deal him because they cannot afford to go into next summer with no deal on the table because he will walk. And somebody will send him $15 million.
well, especially with the season they're having.
Like they have to deal him, and that's a hard reality for Leaf fans. And most Leaf fans won't want to hear that.
Yeah.
But the sad reality is, you cannot let him walk. He cannot walk for free in free agency. You have to deal him if it gets to that point.
Well, that's the thing too, right? Like a lot of players, like have walked for nothing. Don't get me wrong. Ilya Mikheyev is like whatever. He's overpaid anyways. Canucks have fun with that one. Zach Hyman.
Yep, walked.
Jack Campbell.
Walked. Both same team.
Right?
Edmonton.
So
those are just the big names.
those are the big ones. Like other than that, like in trades there's Trevor Moore, Sean Durzi.
Marchment's look really good.
Marchment has been phenomenal. Just guys like that. So they got to stop doing that. They got to stop giving like teams players for free or like making shit trades. But anyways, it's still somewhat early. November is tomorrow. So, because we're recording this on Halloween.
Yep.
They have time to figure it out, but the clock's ticking. Like
it's been ticking.
If it's been, like it's on its last leg. Like mid-November, if they don't win I don't know how many games they have this month. I didn't check, but let's say they have 10 games this month. Okay.
Okay.
They'll probably have more than that. Let's say they have 10 games and they only win two of the 10. That's it. Like it's over. So.
I have 15.
They have 15?
15 in November. If they don't go at least 500.
Nah, well.
That's 8 and 7.
Even if they, I was going to say, even if they win, they have to.
Like, the thing is now that you're 4-4-2 after month 1, if you don't go at least 8 and 7 or better in month 2,
that's it.
Leaf fans are going to go ballistic.
They can't, well, the pressure's already on. Like,
exactly.
they're already calling for, like, by then, geez, I can only imagine how crazy they'll go.